you should not take advice from someone that is not an operator. And what I mean about being an operator is if you're looking to do something, so for example, starting an Airbnb business, don't take advice from people that are not actually doing short-term rentals, and more importantly, don't take advice from someone that is not successful in the short-term rental game. You can ask someone that tried it and failed just to see why it failed. Really do your homework. The next thing, very important, is we need to delegate, delegate, delegate. I said this before, I'm going to continue to say this. You cannot be everything in your business. You can't be the maintenance guy. You can't be the housekeeper. You can't be the accountant. You can't be the social media guy. You have to decide what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are. And whatever your strength is, double down on that. And then your weaknesses, whatever you're weak at, delegate that. Your ability to add longer stays. If you follow my channel, you know that I'm a big fan of catering to remote workers, the nomad community. And these are travel nurses. And these are people that are looking for short-term rentals for 30, 60, 90 days, up to 180 days at a time, right? But if you don't have that clicked off on your listing, meaning you don't have it checked off in which you're accepting longer stays, you're not going to show up on a search for longer stays. We're not good at everything. As much as you want to believe and think that you probably can handle it all, you're not going to be good. Something's going to fall off. So my recommendation is always going to be to focus on what you're good at and hire out what you're not good at. Grow is extremely important if you want to make this your profession. If you want to make this your vehicle to financial freedom, you have to grow. And in order to grow, you cannot do it all. You really shouldn't be in the short-term rental game if you can't provide, and that is internet. I mentioned on another video that internet is extremely important because it's going to help you attract a variety of guests. For example, parents today heavily rely on the internet to entertain their kids. I mentioned that the iPad, the iPhone, or the smartphone is today's babysitter, and you're going to need internet to entertain these kids. But it's also going to help you attract that remote worker. It's going to help you attract that nomad. More and more people are working while on vacation, or they're working remote and they want to change their environment, and they're using short-term rentals to do so. So having reliable, high-speed internet is one amenity that you must have. Be very strategic with your decision making. Don't just wing this, people. There's absolutely no reason why you should not use data. There's plenty of information out there that you can apply towards your business, but don't just replicate other people. Take what you receive and be creative with that. Welcoming guests for shorter stay. Now, I know some of you are totally against, you don't believe in short stays, for example, 1-day rentals or 2-day rentals, but I highly recommend that you shift your mindset and start accepting these shorter stays, because you're going to show up on more searches. And the more searches you show up on, the more chances are you're going to get a booking and convert some of these people. Now, I know 1-day stays are very controversial, and I know a lot of them come with more problems, but there's a way to mitigate that. Here's a way that you can mitigate that you may not be aware of. You can continue to have minimum stays for your weekend, because usually the weekends are where the problems are, and have a minimum stay of 1 night for a weekday. Now, you can adjust that on your calendar, but understand that you can still have a 1-day stay and still have 2-day minimums for example, the weekend. But in addition to that, if you're going to have that 1-day stay, make sure that you adjust your price accordingly, so that if someone does book that 1-day stay, they pay for that 1-day stay, right? The next is going to be that listing description, right? You need to be accurate with that listing description, but more importantly, you need to be very descriptive and personalized. That's what's going to separate something that's good from great. And what I mean by that is the more detailed, and when you write your description, the more you write it in a manner in which it provides or gives the reader a vision or an experience per se as they're reading it, it's going to be much better for you as the host for that guest. The key point there is that you need to be as descriptive as possible and be as accurate accurate as possible in your listing description. The next is going to be a fully equipped kitchen. Can't express this enough. Again, having a fully equipped kitchen is going to help you attract those people that I mentioned with the internet. Families. It's going to help you attract remote workers, the nomads. It's going to help you attract longer stays. And if you follow my channel, you know I'm a big fan of attracting people for longer stays. Is it a big money maker? It can be, but more importantly, if you attract longer stays, it's less worry for you in terms of, am I going to get my place booked? But having a fully equipped kitchen is a must. The last thing I want to talk about is going to be your amenities. Now, before I get into that, understand this. You don't have to have the most expensive property. I've said this 1,000 times. You don't have to have the biggest property, but what you need to do, or you need to do your property justice. And here's what I mean by that. It doesn't matter if you have an 800 square foot house or 800 square foot apartment, or you have a 4,000 square foot apartment. What you do with that space is what matters. Your decor needs to be like pristine. You need to set it up. Think about it this way. If a professional interior designer goes into your property, what are they going to say? Put it into that perspective, or when you set up your property, use that interior designer as your avatar. So when the average person like myself, I'm not an interior designer, when I walk in, it gives me that wow feeling. So that's very important in how you set up the property, not necessarily the property itself. The amenities, again, you don't have to have the most expensive property, but within the unit itself, the decor was one. Make sure you have a coffee station, some other stuff that I'm about to mention. I've discussed it on other videos, but a coffee station. Make sure you're providing not just coffee, but tea. Make sure that you have a workstation, you have high-speed Wi-Fi. Those are the common amenities, but the extra stuff. So for example, having a smart TV. Again, you don't have to have cable, you don't have to have satellite, but you have to have some kind of streaming service so that people that want to get entertained to watch it. So you please provide some kind of entertainment. Make sure that in addition to having like a streaming channel, make sure any little extra stuff, stuff like that matters and separates you between something that's bad, something that's good, to something that's great. All right, my beautiful people, now I'm going to sign off. You know what to do. Hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. If you found value in this video or you'd like to donate to the channel, consider buying me a coffee. If you have a question, buy me a coffee. I'll respond and we can have a chat. Love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.